I have seen babies being held by nurses, and the nurse could be holding them gently, rocking them, and the baby's just like, wah, wah, wah. The moment that baby goes into the mom's arms, that baby relaxes because it's so comforting. The chest, the breast, the bosom, it really is the baby's first home outside of the womb. Breastfeeding is much more than a physical act. It really is a sacred, beautiful bonding, and some would say spiritual connection that happens between the mom and the baby. If you've ever gotten the opportunity to see a baby feeding happily at its mother's breast and the mom looking into the baby's eyes, the baby staring intently into the mom's eyes, and them just admiring each other, it is a sight to see. And as a international board certified lactation consultant, I've had the opportunity to witness this beautiful connection, and every time I'm in awe. Sometimes when things are going well, especially, and I have a moment to just sit there and look at that connection, I get moved. I get relaxed just looking at it. Breastfeeding, the hormones that are released during the process, it can make you feel warm and fuzzy. We call some of those hormones love hormones. One of those is called oxytocin, and it's the same hormone that's released at times of intense pleasure, like intimacy. Okay, it's the same hormone that's released when the baby is crowning. It's that hormone that some people will say makes them forget about everything they just went through in the laboring and the delivery of the baby, and just that overwhelming sense of joy and love that they feel is one of the hormones that is responsible for that beautiful connection piece between a mom and a baby. And even in other settings, a mom and maybe her romantic partner, it's a blissful hormone. And when you think about spirituality, spirituality is all about nourishing yourself, seeking to understand yourself, seeking to really connect on a deep, intimate level. And in this seeking, you grow, you become more aware of your connection to everything around you. And so when we look at the context of breastfeeding, that is exactly what's going on. So one of the things that happens when you breastfeed is it promotes a really strong bond between you and the baby. Now, this is not to say that mothers who bottle feed will not have a connection with their babies or, won't have that bond. No, that I'm not meaning that at all. However, when you do breastfeed, there is something special about it. It's undeniable. And for some women, it can be very challenging. If you find yourself in that scenario, ask for help, use your resources. If you're delivering in the hospital, your nurse should be there to support you. They most likely will have a lactation consultant available. I am a virtual lactation consultant, and I would love to support you on your journey. I'll put the link to my information down somewhere in the description, and I even help moms prepare before they have their baby, which is my favorite because we get ready before, so you can get off to the best start possible. But it helps to promote bonding. One of those ways is just through the sensation, through touch. We are community beings. We, even us big adults, like to be touched. We like to cuddle. We like to fall asleep next to one another. And all of those senses are met when you are breastfeeding. Your baby gets to feel the warmth from your body. Of course, they're getting the nourishment from that warm milk coming into their bodies. The milk has a sweetness to it. A lot of people don't know this. Now, I've never tasted it, but I've heard people say that it tastes something like the milk at the bottom of the cereal bowl, like that really good milk that you want to drink afterwards. So yes, they are just having a explosion of good sensations when they're breastfeeding. It's warm, it's cozy, they're getting a nice little treat. They get to look at you. Babies will literally lock eyes with their moms. They know who their mom is. I have seen babies being held by nurses, and the nurse could be holding them gently, rocking them, and the baby's just like, wah, wah, wah. The moment that baby goes into the mom's arms, that moment the baby is pulled up close and snuggled to the chest, that baby relaxes because it's so comforting. The chest, the breast, the bosom, it really is the baby's first home outside of the womb. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful, very bonding experience for a mom and a baby. And that's why a lot of hospitals now are practicing rooming in, which is where the mom and the baby remain together the entire time. They don't take the baby to the nursery. That taking the baby to the nursery thing is kind of old and played out. So you'll see a lot of hospitals are phasing out their nursery. Also, it encourages you to be present and mindful. So when you're breastfeeding, it's important that you are aware of your baby's signals. Your baby will signal you when they're ready to eat. They will suck on their fingers, they'll stick out their tongue, they will smack. They give you signs that they're ready. And so when you become aware of those signs and you start to respond to those signs, a trusting relationship begins to develop between you and the baby. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful connection. And it requires you to be in tune. As your milk starts to increase, because the first few days, most moms just have a little bit of milk called colostrum, very, very nutritious. And then the milk will start to increase as the days go on, as long as the baby's latching well. When that milk increases, moms will feel that their breasts are full when it's time to feed. And then after they feed, their breasts feel softer. There are so many signs the body will give you to let you know how things are going. So the act of breastfeeding itself requires you to be in tune with your body as well as in tune with the baby. You're going to be paying attention to how many pees your baby's having, how many poops your baby's having, how do they seem after feeding, are they relaxed? It's very much an act that requires you to go within, to trust your instincts, to trust your inner ability, and to be observant and to really, really understand the connection that you have to your baby, and to be observant and to really, really, really be responsive to your baby's needs. And they're going to tell you that without talking. It's literally like telepathy, okay? In a sense, it's not a verbal communication that y'all have. It's body. It is essence. It is energy, okay? Now, another thing is it honors tradition. When you breastfeed, you're honoring your ancestors. Our ancestors nourished us from their bosom. Maybe not these last couple generations since the rise of formula happened in the 1970s. The rates of breastfeeding hit an all-time low. Formula was so popular that they hit an all-time low in the 1970s. So that is our mothers and grandmothers. We were the generations that weren't necessarily put to the breast. But before that, for as long as we could remember, as long as we have been around, women have been nourishing their babies from their breasts. So it really can help connect you to your lineage, to your bloodline, and getting back into the things that y'all used to do, the traditions that once sustained us as a collective, as an overall culture and species. It also is just a loving act. I think I've said loving so many times, but it requires energy, it requires effort. It's a learned skill. You're learning, the baby's learning, everybody's learning together. So even though it's natural, it can still have its challenges. And it really is so selfless because you're literally giving your time, you're giving your body to nourish your baby. And so it's one of the most beautiful, loving acts that a mom um, can do for her baby. And it's such a blessing. And then don't even get me started on the benefits of the breast milk, the literal composition, and how perfectly formulated it is for the proper growth and development of the child. And then lastly, it provides nourishment and it builds trust. So as you can see, some of these points are interlocking, they're interwoven, because just like with everything else, breastfeeding is not its own independent thing. Breastfeeding and birth aren't two separate experiences. The things that happen to you in your pregnancy can affect the way you birth. The way you birth can affect the way you breastfeed. The way you felt after you have your baby can affect how you feel for months and years afterwards. And so it's so important that you're aware of this sacred and beautiful holistic connection between breastfeeding and the mind, the body, and the spirit. It's not just a physical act. It's a very special, very sacred, very beautiful act. And it can be challenging, but it is so worth it. Now, I have to be sensitive to the mothers who have had challenges along their journey. I want you to know that at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you are well, your baby is well, and that they are being nourished and bathed in your love, okay? Whether they are being fed directly from your breast or through your pumped milk or through a bottle of breast milk substitute, the most important thing is that nourishment and that love, and that you nourish and that you love on yourself. That's the start. When you're nourished, you will flourish, and so will those you love. A well-nourished mother is a blessing to everyone that she serves, everyone that she loves, and you surely do not want to cross her. Okay, so on that note, I'll go ahead and wrap this video up. If you like this, go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you would like to see more from me. If you are looking for support along your breastfeeding journey, or you're pregnant and you are wanting to get prepared for your lactation journey, I do walk mothers through my blissful breastfeeding program every single month, and we talk about everything you need to know to get off to the best start possible. If you have suggestions for future videos, please put them in the comments below. I will definitely consider them as I create content for you in the future. Till next time, y'all be well.